If you guys have not seen Devon's latest video, make sure to go check that out. But in this video, Devon gives some potential ways to rank Denis after their match. Here's what he said.
He could be as high as number 2. But seriously, he really could be. I would really think he's somewhere in the top 5, but he could be. I mean, could he beat Hermes? Maybe. Could he beat Vitaly? Maybe. Could he beat Rivas? Maybe. Could he beat Georgie? Maybe. Could he beat Levon?
So if you guys didn't catch that, when Devon says Denis could be as high as number 2, that would be assuming that Devon is number 1 since Devon just beat Denis. And obviously, Devon is kidding here. Devon has said repeatedly that he still considers Levon to be the number 1 guy even while he is injured, which shows a ton of respect. So that means Devon thinks Denis could be as high as number 3 in the world. And Devon brings up a match that I would really like to see, and that is Denis versus Hermes. I think that one of the major problems Denis had against Devon is that Devon's arm length allows him to attack Denis in a way that Hermes could not. I also think that Devon's pronator and his elbow flexor have a much better endurance than Hermes does, so I don't know if Hermes could just hit into Denis's arm 100 times in a row like Devon did without getting tired. Hermes may not have such a clear lane to victory, and if Hermes starts to get a bit gassed out, I could see that swinging in the favor of Denis. But then again, Hermes did have some success in the past climbing over Michael Todd's King's move. Denis now is probably way stronger than Michael Todd was then, but so is Hermes. It would be super interesting to see if Hermes could climb over Denis's King's move before getting tired. But let's just say for the sake of the video that Hermes does defeat Denis. What would Denis's rank be if that happened? I do see people like Dave Chafee being the big underdog against Denis. I also think that probably Gennady Quick-Vinya would be the underdog as well. Devon was able to press through Gennady's bicep, but even after ripping through Denis's arm over and over again, Devon still couldn't press through his bicep. He had to can opener him out of a press. And the Devon that pulled Denis is probably way stronger than the Devon that pulled Gennady, so I probably would rank Denis above both Dave and Gennady. But what about the guys with super long arms like Devon? What about Rivas and Vitaly? We actually have some footage of Denis practicing with Vitaly, and for what it's worth, Denis was looking pretty good. But of course, that doesn't really tell us all that much. But with Vitaly, I see him having a major problem finishing the match. Vitaly doesn't really have a press like Devon, and even Devon was having a real struggle pinning Denis even with hand control. I think Vitaly probably gasses out against Denis. And as far as Rivas goes, I think he's similar to Vitaly, just probably not quite on the same level yet. So I would see that match having a similar result. Now who I would be really interested to see pulling Denis Cyplenkov is Georgi Svetkov. Not only does Georgi have an awesome top roll, but he also has incredible endurance. Georgi will be pulling Devon in just under a month, and I do think Devon will probably win that, but depending on how well Georgi does, I think a match between him and Denis could make a lot of sense. The only problem with that match for Georgi is that he doesn't have a great ability to commit his shoulder. Shoulder commitment played a big role in Devon's match with Denis, and not having that may prove to be an issue. So all in all, I think I would put Denis somewhere between top 3 and top 5. I really could see him beating Hermes and Georgi, but I could also see him losing to those guys. But let me know what you guys think about this. Where would you rank the Denis Cyplenkov that just competed at East vs West 10?